Everyone went home after New Year. But something stayed behind with me. Everyone went home after New Year. That's when I realized I wasn't alone anymore. I stayed behind in my apartment building after the holidays ended. Most people left early, hauling suitcases down icy steps, hugging in the lobby, promising to come back once the roads cleared. I told myself I needed the quiet, a reset. The city always felt different after New Year anyway, emptier, slower, like it was catching its breath. The snow made it worse. Streets disappeared under white. Plows came less often. Buses stopped running at night. By January 3rd, my building felt cut off from the rest of the city, like an island made of concrete and old wiring. During the day, it wasn't bad. The radiators knocked and hissed. The hallways smelled faintly of cleaning chemicals and cold air. Sunlight filtered through dirty stairwell windows and reflected off the snow outside, bright enough to hurt my eyes. I told myself I was lucky, peaceful even. At night, that feeling didn't last. The silence changed once the sun went down. It wasn't just quiet, it felt occupied, like something was pressing in from the walls. I started leaving the TV on low, just to have noise. Even then, I caught myself pausing, listening, waiting for something I couldn't name. The first red flag came late on the fourth night. I was brushing my teeth when I heard footsteps in the stairwell outside my apartment. Slow, heavy, echoing. I froze, toothbrush still in my mouth, listening. Someone climbed, one flight, then another. The sound carried clearly through the thin walls. That shouldn't have been possible. Every apartment on my floor was empty. I'd watched my neighbors leave. The landlord had even taped notices to doors reminding tenants to shut off water before traveling. Still, the footsteps continued, reaching my floor before stopping abruptly. I waited. Nothing else happened. The next night, it happened again. This time, the footsteps went down instead of up. Slow. Careful, each step deliberate, like whoever it was wanted to be heard. I stood by my door, hand hovering over the lock, heart beating harder than it should have. When I finally opened it and looked out, the hallway was empty. Lights hummed softly overhead. No movement, no sound. I started locking my door at night. A few days later, I heard doors opening and closing on other floors. Not slamming, not rushed. Just the soft click of latches, followed by the slow creak of hinges. One door, then another, always after midnight. Always spaced out like someone moving methodically through the building. I checked the building directory in the lobby the next morning. Almost every unit was marked vacant. Mine was one of the few left. That knowledge sat heavy in my chest all day. The building lights started acting up after that. Motion sensors clicked on by themselves. Hallways lit up when no one was there. I'd look down the corridor and see lights glowing at the far end, then watch them shut off one by one, as if something had passed through. I told myself it was faulty wiring, old systems, cheap repairs. Then the intercom crackled. I was half asleep on the couch when the speaker above my door popped to life. At first I thought it was static. Then I realized it wasn't random noise. It was rhythmic, uneven, breathing, slow, wet, too close. I stood up so fast my head spun. I pressed the intercom button, expecting silence. Instead, the breathing stopped instantly, and the speaker clicked dead. That night, I didn't sleep. The knocking started 2 nights later. Soft, gentle. 3 taps, a pause. 3 taps again. I checked the time. 12:14 a.m. I didn't answer. I didn't even move. I sat on the couch, staring at the door, counting my breaths, waiting for it to stop. When it did, the silence that followed felt worse. The next night, it happened again. Same time, same rhythm. By the third night, I was standing behind the door when it happened. I don't know why. Curiosity, maybe. Or some stupid instinct that told me if I waited long enough, I'd understand. The knocking stopped just as I reached for the handle. That became the pattern. Every night after midnight, the same soft knock. And every night it stopped just before I touched the door. No footsteps leaving, no sound, fading away, just gone. I stopped using my bedroom. I slept on the couch with my coat nearby, phone charged, shoes by the door. I kept the lights on in the hallway, even though the brightness made my eyes ache. I started jumping at every sound the building made, pipes, radiators, wind. The worst part was how patient it felt. Nothing rushed, nothing forced. It wasn't trying to scare me. The power went out on the 9th night. The lights cut off without warning. The TV died mid-sentence. The building fell into darkness so complete it felt physical. The radiators stopped knocking. The silence pressed in hard. Then the knocking started. Not just at my door, from the hallway, from the stairwell, from the walls. My phone buzzed in my hand, even though there was no service. The screen lit up with a notification that didn't make sense. You don't have to hide. The knocking moved closer, inside. I heard it from my kitchen wall, then my bedroom door, then behind me. My breathing turned shallow. My hands shook so badly, I dropped my phone. I backed toward the living room, heart hammering, ears ringing. Footsteps circled me. Slow, close. The air shifted with each pass, like something heavy moving just out of sight. I ran, barefoot, down the hallway, past dark apartments, down the stairs. The emergency lights flickered weakly, casting long shadows that bent the wrong way. I didn't stop until I burst out the front doors and into the snow. I stood there gasping, lungs burning, staring back at the dark building. No lights, no movement, just a silent concrete shape against the night. I didn't go back inside. I waited until dawn in my car, shaking, watching the windows. Nothing moved. When the sun finally rose, I drove away without packing, without telling anyone, without looking back. I never returned for my things. No one ever explained what happened in that building. The landlord said there were no reports, no break-ins, no malfunctions. Everything checked out. But I know what I heard. Now, every year after New Year, I avoid quiet places. I leave music on. I sleep with lights glowing. Silence doesn't feel empty anymore. It feels full. If you made it this far, subscribe for more true horror stories like this one.